Amen. Let's give him another hand. God bless him. All right. Let us stand for a moment and we're going to read this portion of the scripture from the book of Romans, chapter 8. Just two scriptures, verses 24 and 25. 24 and 25. From the New Living Translation, we have these words. We were given this hope when we were saved. If we already have something, we do not need to hope for it. But if we look forward for something that we don't yet have, we must wait patiently and confidently, hoping for the unseen. Hoping for the unseen. One of our ministers and pastors in the Southern California area, Dr. Charles Blake, in his book titled Free to Dream, Dr. Blake tells the story of Thabo Mbeki, who was born in South Africa. He was born during the time that nation was suffering under the evil of apartheid. And throughout his life, Mbeki, he dreamed of living free in his own country, free from the racial restrictions of apartheid, free from the European domination of his nation, free from all of the imposed poverty and suffering that came with that social order. When he was very young, his parents were arrested, incarcerated, and placed in a dungeon jail. They were there because of their brave and tenacious fight in the ANC, the African National Congress, fighting for the freedom of their beloved country, South Africa. Their incarceration resulted in Mbeki being sent away to live with a family member, an uncle to be specific. Although very young, he kept trying to enlist in the Congress, the same organization that his parents had gone to jail for. He wanted to fight and be a part of the ANC. But every time he attempted to join, they would send him back and told him, "You're too young, and you should come back when you are older." When he was about 20 years old, he and several of his friends were called to a secret meeting with Nelson Mandela. Mr. Mandela told that young group, a hopeful, political young group, he told them that one day apartheid is going to end in South Africa. And he told them what the African National Congress needed for them to do was to leave South Africa, to go away, so that they would avoid being maybe killed, incarcerated, and in jail like so many other the members were. He wanted them to go away in order that one day, he told them, that when apartheid ends, we want you to educate yourself so that you will have the brilliance and the intelligent mind to rule the nation when this system of apartheid ends. Mbeki, he left and he went to London and he stayed away from South Africa for 28 years, away from his family, his homeland, for 28 years. Following the advice of Mandela, he educated himself in politics and all of the things of diplomacy that was necessary in order to return one day and rule his nation, serve as a ruler of his nation. Apartheid eventually ended. Nelson Mandela was brought from jail and he became the president of the country. However, Mbeki, he returned and they put him in as deputy president of the nation and president of the African National Congress. In 1987, the people of South Africa elected Mbeki as president of the nation, the successor of President Nelson Mandela. The road to success had not been easy for him. He lived to see his parents suffer in jail. He lived to see many of his family members killed, including a nephew and a son fighting apartheid. He himself, living in England, dealt with constant dangers and threats. But the thing that he never gave up on was hoping for the unseen. Hoping that in spite of all that he endured and suffered, that one day God would bless his nation to be free from all of the restrictions of apartheid. Keep hope alive, people. The story of Mbeki reminds us of the story of Paul, who is the writer of our scripture today. The story of Paul is told very clearly in the book of Acts. His 3 missionary journeys were very difficult. Paul did not allow the struggles and the difficulties that he suffered to destroy his hope for the unseen glories of God. In fact, Paul writes in the 17th verse, if we are to share in God's glory, we must also share in his suffering. If we are to really understand what it's like to shine in the bright spirit of the glory of God, we're going to have to travel through some dark, sick, and suffering hours in our lives. Because between his first missionary journey and his 3rd journey, Paul's road was not easy. Paul was betrayed by his friends. Paul was stoned and dragged out of a city called Iconium. Paul was beaten and left for dead on the side of the road. He was lied on by his own friend and ambushed by his own people. Paul was shipwrecked on his way to prison in Rome. Now the question becomes, how was Paul able to keep his hope alive through all of this? Well, Paul lived not by the flesh, but by the Spirit. He believed in the power of the Spirit of God. And he believed that he was a child of God. He hoped in the unseen future glory that God has to offer. And I want to say to you today, regardless of how difficult your roads might be in life, keep hope alive. Believe that there is a God that's looking at your situation. He knows how difficult your road is and has been. Paul believed very deeply, and you must saturate yourself with this thought as well. He believed that God causes all things to work together for good. Maybe you can't see it, but there is an unseen glory that God has for you, a plan for your life. And you got to hold on to that and allow your trials to make you stronger But like Mbeke, don't give up on your dreams. Stay focused. I personally believe that God has a glorious plan for all of his children. Do you believe that? Do you believe that you are in the plan of your God and that he has a glorious plan for you? You need to live with the joy of knowing that and the excitement of knowing. Now I must stop over and tell you that along the way, Satan is going to try to destroy your hopes and your dreams. He is going to plant a thorn in your flesh. He's going to try to provoke you and keep a record of your response to his provocations. He's going to do all these things and try to destroy you. If you are a child of God, you got to understand that your road is not going to be easy. You're going to have some trials on the way. But success is always there if you are a child of God. Believe that at the end of 28 years away from home, like Mbeke, you can return and become the president of the same nation that ran you out. And I want to tell you that right now there is a lot of despair over the placement of Brett Kavanaugh as the justice in the Supreme Court. But let me tell you, why should you feel so discouraged? Why should the shadows loom? You serve a God who's in control of nations. He's in control of time. And you should not walk around upset by anything politically transpiring in your nation. And Becky, he did not let apartheid take his attention off of the fact that one day this too shall pass. And all of those who are doing things that are outside of the will of God cannot hinder the plan, the glory, the success that God has for you. An unknown poet put it this way: success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. Stick to your fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. Stay on the battlefield. Stay with God and allow God to carry you on through all of the hours of despair to the bright light of victory. Now the question is, what is this hoping? The title is Hoping for the Unseen. What is this hoping? Hoping is the opposite of the word hopeless. Hopeless. Because to feel hopeless is to feel depressed, to feel miserable, to feel pain, and to walk around frightened, looking over your shoulder, never knowing and fearing what is behind you. Now God gives us a very wonderful case study in the matter of hopelessness. In 1 Kings, the 19th chapter, in this text we find that Elijah experienced many classic symptoms of hopelessness. He was afraid that Jezebel was going to carry out her threat to kill him. So he lived in fear all the time. And it's an awful thing to live in fear. I remember when I landed in Vietnam, we had been trained and told that all of the young people in our generations were suffering and dying. But they had psyched us up like we were the greatest fighters in the world. United States Marine. We could handle anything. But when I got to Vietnam, I said, wait a minute. Where's all that bravery, all of that. It was a fearful thought to be in an atmosphere where people are constantly and daily dying. Elijah was going through that moment of fear of Jezebel. And fear is a state of hopelessness. And Elijah, in that 19th chapter, also had another symptom of hopelessness. He had suicidal tendencies. And let me tell you, I am so shocked as a pastor to find out how much that is taking place in our society. And I'm not talking about old people suffering with diseases and they can't get well. I'm talking about young people who feel hopeless and see no way out or killing themselves. But we must inject in them, through our Christian belief, the power of hope. Don't quit. Don't give up. Go on. There is a bright light at the end of this tunnel. Elijah, he felt so hopeless that he actually started praying. Oh Lord, let me die. Now, problem with that is that Jezebel was looking for him, and if he wanted to die, all he had to do was stop running. He didn't really want to die. He was just in a state of hopelessness that had led his mind to utter those words. He was demonstrating fear and suicidal tendencies, but he was also dealing with the feeling of rejection. When you read that passage, he told the Lord, like, everybody is gone. All your people is gone except me. And sometimes you can feel all alone in a situation. You can feel like nobody understands what you're going through. And you can be all alone, all by yourself. And even those that you feel close to, they've been injected with something and they have ran away and left you as well. He was feeling rejection. I'm all alone. But he was also feeling depressed. A lot of people in a state of depression, they do as Elijah did. He secluded himself from the social order of people. He ran into a cave. In fact, he got up under a tree, all alone, isolating himself. And let me just throw something out parenthetically. When you're raising children, watch them if they spend too much time alone. They need to be socially active. They need to know how to interact with others. But sometimes it's because of a depression that they don't want to share with anybody else. So Elijah is feeling that way, and he's under a tree. And then God came to him and asked him, what are you doing there? Why are you here? God is speaking to you right now. If you're going through some sense of hopelessness, what are you doing there? You are a child of God. And God wants you to keep hope alive in your spirit and in your mind. When God causes us to hope, we began to wait, we began to trust, and we began to have an eager anticipation that something good is going to happen. Tell somebody something good is going to happen. Do you believe that? Something good, we move away from hopelessness and we start believing that something good is going to happen. I don't know about you, but I got this feeling that something good is going to happen. Amen. Oh, I go through a lot of stuff. I'm telling you, amen. But I lived long enough to see and believe that God will bring you through it. God won't park your life right in the midst of it. God will bring you through it. And I believe something good is going to happen. This day, right now, God has something good in store for you. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? Amen. Don't get anchored down in all your troubles and your trials, because the Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, and it is the evidence of things unseen. I can't see it, but I believe that something good is going to happen. Amen. I believe that. I don't care who's in the Supreme Court, I don't care who's sitting in the president's office. We serve a God who is in control, and something good is going to happen. Amen? Something good is going to happen. I believe that from the very depths of my spirit. I believe it. Amen. I believe what the Lord tells us, that He plans for our welfare. And our welfare is not for evil, but to give us a bright future filled with hope that something good is going to happen. Amen. We're in God's plan. Every single one of us, you are a wonderful child of God. Oh, you're going to have some bumps along the way, but don't allow that to destroy you. Keep on hoping, keep on believing, keep on moving forward, knowing that there's a brighter day ahead. In fact, you know what the writer of Paul tells us in the 5th chapter of Romans? He says, rejoice even in your suffering. You know, that don't make sense, does it? Be happy while you're going through something in your life. Rejoice in your suffering. You know why? He says, because suffering produces endurance. You don't see it, but suffering is doing something to you. Suffering is making you able to handle some stuff. You see, because what you're going through, somebody else has already been through it. Amen. And don't think that you go through something all by yourself. Every experience in life has already been experienced by somebody. And if God brought them through, that same God can bring you through. Suffering produces endurance. And endurance produces character. You know what that means? You're a better person when you come out. Amen. Amen. You know, and I know that when you go through something and it has caused you to suffer and you didn't quite understand it and you come out of it, you're not the same person you were before you went in. I shared with you how I had my double bypass heart surgery. And I know I got character flaws. I'm not perfect, amen. I'm working on it, amen. But guess what? So have you, amen. And I pray because, you know, it's an interesting moment when you're looking at life and you're looking at the lights and you're on the table. And they're getting ready to put you to sleep. And you're wondering, are you ever going to wake up again? That's a strange feeling, amen. That you say, man, and all of a sudden the lights look different, amen. Everything, you can almost see the air, you know. Amen, everything is different. I'm telling you, so I just said, okay, Lord, turn it over to the Lord. And then, when I finally came out of surgery, I tell people that we always talk about how blessed we are to have a sirloin, a filet mignon steak, and all these things that we like. But the best thing that I could taste was a piece of ice. Amen. I was so happy just to taste ice. Amen. That ice made me realize that I'm still here, that I've been through it, and I'm still here. Thank you, Lord. Somebody say thank you, God. Amen. Listen, ice still tastes good to me after coming out of that. I look at the world different. I look at people different. I don't do some of the things I had to do. You know why? It's because I developed a new character after going through something that I've never been through before. Amen. And that's what God is telling us. Just keep hoping. Don't give up in the midst of your trial. Don't stop until you get to the end of the road. It said hope produces character, and hope does not put us to shame. Because God, listen, God has put hope into our heart through the Holy Spirit that He has given us. Now, if you're not living in the Spirit, you're going to be walking around hopeless all the time. Amen. But sometimes when you have the Spirit of God in you, lift that head up. You can get through this. Lift that head up. You can get through it. Amen. And believe that God is directing your path. Now, there are so many reasons, right, in our social environment right now, where we're living, that we need to live by the hope. We need to have this embedded in our spirit. And we need to hope for the unseen. You see, we are living in a time where our Christian hope is being challenged by wolves in sheep clothing. Let me try that one more time. We're living at a time when our Christian hope is being challenged by wolves in sheep clothing. There are people who are doing some things that they know are contrary to the Word of God, but yet and still they insist and persist in going on with it anyway. The world is content with mass poverty instead of using resources to bless those that don't have. We throw away more food that could feed half of the world. And many of our churches are trapped in the ignorance of constantly feuding rather than family and friendly spiritual tranquility within the atmosphere and in the church. You see, the Bible is being traded in. Listen to this. The Bible is being traded in, and people are beginning to live by what they see as right in their own sight. And in the book of Joshua, it says that the worst time in the history of Israel is when everybody lived by what was right in their own sight. We need to keep hope alive because ignorance has been given a strong platform to manipulate people of good character into doing what is wrong. Ignorance is on the throne. But Proverbs tells us, he says that there is a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof is the ways of death. There's a way that seems right to you, but you got to understand what will wait you on the end when you try to throw away the Bible and do it your way. Oh, I wish I had a friend. Listen, but as we live in this type of world, there's something that I believe. I believe that the words of Dr. Martin Luther King are still worth holding on to in the midst of this challenging world. We can dig him up and listen to his voice as he says, "Truth forever on the scaffold, and wrong forever on the throne. But the scaffold shall sway the future, and behind the dim unknown, standing God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own." Thank you, God. Amen. God is watching. God is watching. So keep on hoping. Even when you can't see the end, don't give up hoping. God is in the shadow watching over us. Keep on hoping. And when it gets so tough, get on your knees and say, "This too shall pass." Amen. This too will pass. Amen. This Supreme Court is going to pass. This president is going to be nothing more than a footnote in history within a few years. Don't let it get you down. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. Keep hoping, knowing that we live in a moral universe that tilts toward righteousness and justice. There's something about right that wins out all the time. Keep on hoping, believing in the unseen. We were given the scripture that I read says, "This hope when we were saved. And then in parentheses it has these words. If we already have something we have, we don't need to hope for it. If we already have something, we don't need to hope for it. Let me tell you something that happened. I used to work in bank management. And one day, a gentleman came in. And he had this strange demeanor about himself. As a matter of fact, it seemed to be a little eerie. And my secretaries, they were going to lunch. And so I provided the service that he needed. He wanted to open up a new account. I gave him all of the paperwork. And he seemed as if he didn't really want to talk very much. But you know, when you meet somebody, you just want to kind of break the atmosphere, say something, amen. So he's sitting there, he's looking at me and doing his work, and I'm sitting here, nobody's saying anything. And finally, the Lord said, well, you break it. I said, okay. I said, you know, I work here at the bank, but I'm a minister. You know what he said to me? He said, I know it. I'm trying to figure out, what are you talking about, you know it? First time I ever met you in my life. And then he says, now you don't have to try to save me. He says, because I don't need to believe. I don't need to believe. You don't have to tell me all of this stuff about salvation or nothing like that. I don't need to believe. In fact, you are a minister, but I know something that you don't know. So I'm looking, what's going on with this fellow? Get this paperwork out of the way and get him out of here, amen. And then he said to me, about 2 years ago, I was at a wild party in Malibu, and I was driving down the side of a hill. I had been drinking, and the car went over the cliff, and they came down there. The next morning they found me, and I was in a coma, and I stayed in that coma in the hospital for almost 8 months. But during the time that I was in that coma, my spirit was alive. He said, the Lord took me into heaven. And I lived during that period of time in heaven. And I saw all the things that I never believed in before in my life. I experienced being there. So what I'm saying, you don't have to tell me to believe. I already know that there's a heaven. I've been there, amen. I've been there. And that's why this text says that when you have something already, you don't need to hope for it. Because if you've been to heaven already, amen, then you know what's already there. You have more than us Christians. We got a hope, but you already know. Praise God. Anybody ever had the Lord? I told him, I said, you know, that's a wonderful story, and I have never died and came back. But I have knowledge of someone who's also been there. And his name, talk to me, amen. His name is Jesus. And Jesus died and he came back. And he told us to keep on hoping. Hope because one day there are many mansions that are in my Father's house. And I'm going to go away and I'm going to save one just for you. Keep on hoping because troubles might endure for the night, but joy coming in the morning. Keep on hoping because one last day, when this life is over, I'll fly away and I'll go into the unseen. Don't give up. Don't give up in the midst of your sickness, in the midst of your financial problem, in the midst of all of the trouble, in the midst of the wickedness, the lies, and everything that are going to come on. Keep on hoping that there's something I'm going to meet granddaddy. I can't wait to meet granddaddy. I'm going to see my little brother. Amen. I'm going to go through all of my family and I'm going to look over there and there's going to be my Lord. I'm looking to go. Amen. Praise God. I have hope in the unseen, in the glory of God. So I stopped by to tell you today, it's going to be all right. And all God's people said, amen. It's going to be all right. It's too soon to quit, amen.